Director of Athletic Communications, Justin Mordecai. Mr. Mordecai went to West Georgia University where he finished with his bachelor's and master's degree in sports management in 2021. Prior to graduating, he was a student worker for the West Georgia Athletic Department, where he conducted sports information, external operations, and marketing for the football and basketball teams. After graduating, he had two stints, one at Alabama State and one at Newberry, where he was a director of strategic communications for Alabama State, and he was an athletic communications assistant for Newberry. In summary to the interview, I gathered a lot of much needed knowledge for me to grow in the sports management field. I also gained a lot of knowledge that I'll be discussing later in the slides that will help me for years to come. In the interview, not only did I get to interview somebody that has a sports management degree, but also somebody that's in a communications field. So being able to have that broad range and being able to openly talk about communications in sports management really helped discuss and talk to me and help me be able to understand more of what his job really is and how at Clarke, Atlanta, he's a one-man situation, and so that being that one person, he does everything that is involved in the communications department, being able to really touch every little bit of the field that he's in. Learning points. There were several things that he told me that I took away from. One of them was have your own motivation. Being able to push yourself twice as hard and being able to desire your own success is what's going to make it feel all the more satisfying when you actually get something done and you're actually able to push through and do the work even when you might feel overwhelmed. Another thing he told me was multitasking. That's one of the most important things you need to know as you continue through this career. And so knowing that at the beginning he told me that he was good at multitasking but he wasn't great at it. And so then throughout the process of becoming the director in sports communication, he developed this ability even more, and it was able to help him thrive to his best of ability at Clarke, Atlanta, at West Georgia, at Alabama State, and Newberry. Another thing he told me that was a very important tip was be able to manage your own schedule and be very orderly, because if you're not, you're going to get very overwhelmed very quickly. That there's a lot of different tasks and different areas that you have to do in this career, and so not knowing what to do and when to do it can be very time consuming and very overwhelming to the person, especially if it's only one person doing it. And then last but not least, which I didn't necessarily think was a key point, but something that was very important that I learned, is that I was not aware at all that Clarke Atlanta is actually the only college in the nation that has Atlanta built into the name. And from what Mr. Mordecai told me, is that they're trying to push that narrative even more than ever. That is one of the most important things to know, is that even though it's Clarke Atlanta, it's part of the culture of having that name in inside the title of the university. And so knowing that the power of having that name in it and being in the dead center of Atlanta, it spreads to almost having that culture all the more than ever. What would I do differently? Personally, in this interview, I was a lot more relaxed and a lot more calm than my previous one. I feel like the interview went extremely well and that I didn't really necessarily need to change anything about it. After the interview was 100% done, we had a little bit more of a conversation about internships and such, and so I feel like it was a very beneficial interview and that it doesn't necessarily have anything that was wrong with it. So